Permit me, dear viewer, to describe an animal to you. She is a small, rectangular gray cat. Her body has been replaced, at the abdomen, by a partially consumed strawberry-flavored American breakfast pastry of the toaster. Heated variety. She propels herself through the cosmos by means of a continuously emitted rainbow that extrudes from her hindquarters. She does not eat, she does not sleep, she does not turn. She has been, in some sense, in flight for very nearly 15 years. In April of 2011, this animation was uploaded to a video sharing platform with a soundtrack consisting of an upbeat, looping chiptune in which a high-pitched Japanese language voice repeats, with metronomic unrelenting cheer, the single syllable Nyan. By the end of that calendar year, it had been viewed approximately 75 million times. By 2021, the original creator had auctioned a one-of-one digital signed edition of the animation on an emerging cryptocurrency marketplace for approximately $500,000 US. Our origin point lies modestly in the suburban Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area in the spring of 2011. A self-taught Texan animator named Christopher Torres, in his late 20s, was producing small, brightly colored GIF animations as a hobby and as a small side business. He had developed, over the preceding years, a distinctive style. Characters rendered in 8 to 16 pixel scale, looped, often involving small, absurd anatomical hybrids. On the 2nd of April 2011, in response to a particularly small commission request from a charitable cause, he produced the relevant animation. The cat itself was based, by his own admission, on his own family pet, a Russian blue named Marty, with the body replaced, for reasons of pure whimsy, by the breakfast pastry. The animation was a 12-frame loop, totaling perhaps half a second of content, repeated indefinitely. The cat moved her legs in a small running gait. The rainbow extended behind her. The stars in the background scrolled past in a steady parallax. The total time invested in the animation's production was, by Mr. Torres's later account, approximately one evening. The animation, in its initial uploaded form, was silent. The element that transformed it into the artifact we now remember was supplied, 2 days later, by an entirely unrelated Japanese vocal track that had been uploaded several months earlier to a Japanese video platform. The track in question is a piece of energetic synthesized pop, originally produced as a cover of a song from a popular Japanese music software, in which a digitally synthesized female voice performs a short repeating phrase consisting almost entirely of the syllable Nyan, the Japanese onomatopoeia for a cat's vocalization. On the 5th of April 2011, a third party, a different user, in a different country, with no prior connection to either Mr. Torres or the Japanese vocalist, combined the animation and the chiptune into a single short video. The resulting composite was uploaded to a video sharing platform with the title Nyan Cat, which has remained, to this day, the meme's canonical name. None of the three parties involved, the animator, the chiptune producer, the compiler, had explicitly intended their work to combine in this particular fashion. The composite video achieved a degree of viral propagation that, by the standards of even the most successful 2011-era artifacts, was remarkable. Within 1 week, the video had been viewed approximately 1 million times. Within 1 month, 10 million. Within 6 months, 50 million. At the peak of the meme's first wave deployment, the video was being played in continuous loop in dormitory rooms, in coffee shops, and, as documented by at least one bemused academic paper, in the waiting rooms of a small number of dental offices. The meme had achieved what one might call the holy grail of early 2010 seconds, internet content. It was instantly recognizable, it was instantly reproducible, it was small enough in data terms to be embedded in nearly any context, and it was, critically, immune to most ordinary forms of obsolescence. The cat did not age, the rainbow did not fade. The chiptune did not lose its capacity to lodge itself against the listener's express wishes in the auditory cortex for several hours after exposure. What, precisely, is the joke of Nyan Cat? One must take this question seriously, because the meme is, on its surface, almost devoid of comedic content in the traditional sense. My own view is that the meme's comedic operation depends upon a single brilliant collision, the absurd over-cuteness of its visual content set against the relentless, almost menacing repetitiveness of its presentation. The cat is, in isolation, charming. The chiptune is, in isolation, energetic. But the indefinite looping of both, the deliberate refusal of the artifact to ever conclude, ever rest, ever vary, tips the entire experience into the register of comedic ordeal. To experience Nyan Cat for 10 seconds is to be charmed. To experience Nyan Cat for 10 minutes is to begin questioning the foundations of one's sanity. To experience Nyan Cat for 10 hours. And there exists, on the relevant video platform, an official 10-hour version which has been viewed many millions of times, is to enter a kind of altered state of consciousness in which one is uncertain whether the cat is still on screen, or whether one has merely begun to hallucinate her. Like most artifacts of its era, Nyan Cat was promptly subjected to the small, undignified scramble of commercial exploitation that follows every successful internet phenomenon. T-shirts appeared, plush toys appeared, a small video game was produced. Branded mobile applications were released by parties of varying scrupulousness. In 2013, Mr. Torres, joined by the original Japanese chiptune producer, filed a federal copyright suit against a major American video game and toy manufacturer that had, without seeking permission, incorporated likenesses of the cat and the song into a downloadable game expansion. The suit was settled on undisclosed but reportedly substantial terms. The following year, it established, as a legal matter, that the creators of the original animation and music retained meaningful rights over the use of their work, even when that work had become so culturally ubiquitous as to feel like communal property. This was, in the early 2010 seconds, legal landscape of internet imagery, a small but consequential precedent. It demonstrated that virality did not in itself constitute a forfeiture of copyright. It would prove relevant in unexpected ways to the chapter that came next. In February of 2021, in the early months of the speculative explosion surrounding so-called non-fungible tokens, Mr. Torres announced that he would be auctioning a one-of-one, cryptographically authenticated, signed edition of the original Nyan Cat animation on a then-merging digital art marketplace. The auction was timed to coincide with the 10th anniversary of the meme's original upload. It was, at the time, one of the highest-profile early experiments in the auctioning of a viral internet artifact as a unique digital collectible. The auction closed at approximately 300 Ethereum, which at the prevailing exchange rate of that February amounted to roughly 580,000 United States dollars. The purchaser was, and to my knowledge has remained, a pseudonymous cryptocurrency wallet whose real-world ownership has never been publicly disclosed. The auction proceeds were shared, in accordance with the cooperative arrangement Mr. Torres had developed with the original chiptune producer, between the two original creators of the animation and the song. One pauses for a moment to consider the absurdity of the transaction. An animator who had spent perhaps 4 hours, 10 years prior, producing a 12-frame looping animation of a cat with a pastry torso in mispaint on a personal computer in a Texas suburb, received, in 2021, payment of approximately $250,000 for selling a cryptographically unique copy of the same animation to an anonymous individual who has, to public knowledge, never once subsequently displayed the artifact in public. In the years since the auction, Nyan Cat has not retired. She has reappeared in various official and unofficial capacities, on the boards of professional sporting events, in the background plates of major theatrical films, on the merchandise of internet-native fashion brands, and, as recently as 2025, in a guest appearance on a major streaming animation series in which she was rendered, with great affection, in a 3-second cameo, as a brief glimpse through a window in a science fiction set piece. She has become, in the deep sense, a piece of public cultural furniture. One is no longer surprised to encounter her. One is, perhaps mildly disappointed if a week passes without her unannounced reappearance. So consider, dear viewer, the cat. She is composed, in strict terms, of approximately 1,000 pixels. She has not, in 15 years, moved more than 4 pixels in any direction. She is, on any reasonable metric, the most traveled stationary creature in the history of visual culture. She has, by my count, sold for more, in real dollars, than any other animation of her bit depth. Nyan. 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 Nyan.